I am 85 years old. My hands are mapped with veins like river deltas, and my skin has the texture of ancient parchment. Most people look at me and see a sweet grandmother. They see a woman who probably bakes cookies and remembers birthdays. They see a life well lived, a quiet ending to a quiet story. But they are wrong. For 62 of those 85 years, I wasn't a person. I was a performance. I was a ghost haunting my own hallways, wearing the heavy, suffocating costume of the good woman. I'm about to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable. It might make you want to click away because it hits too close to the bone. You see, the world is designed to eat women like us alive. It starts when we are small, when we are told that kindness means quietness and virtue means self-sacrifice. We are taught that our value is determined by how much of ourselves we can erase to make room for others. I spent 6 decades as a perfectionist of the soul. I was the wife who never complained when my husband came home late. I was the mother who stayed up until 2 a.m. sewing costumes for school plays, even when my own bones ached with exhaustion. I was the employee who took on the extra workload without asking for the title because I didn't want to seem difficult. I thought I was building a legacy. I thought I was earning a seat at the table of happiness. But here is the truth I learned too late. When you spend your life being good, you aren't building a legacy, you're building a prison. And the worst part? You're the one who keeps the keys in your pocket while you starve inside. I'm making this because the clock is ticking. My doctors tell me my heart is tired. It's done a lot of heavy lifting for people who didn't know its weight. Before I go, I need to save you, not for my sake. I've already made my peace. I'm doing this for you, the woman in her 30s who is currently drowning in to-do lists. The girl in her 20s who is terrified of saying no. The woman in her 50s who feels like she's disappearing into the background of her own life. We need to talk about where the good woman starts. It isn't a choice we make one day. It's a slow, methodical architecture. It is built brick by brick, starting in the nursery. I remember being 6 years old. My brother Leo was loud. He was a storm of a child. He climbed the oak tree in the backyard and tore his good trousers. He broke the stained glass lamp in the foyer. He demanded the biggest slice of pie. And my parents, they would laugh. My father would ruffle his hair and say, "He's got spirit, that one. He'll be a leader." But when I spoke up, when I expressed a preference that wasn't convenient, or heaven forbid, threw a tantrum, the air in the room didn't just change. It froze. My mother would give me that look. It wasn't a look of anger. It was a look of profound disappointment. It was a look that said, "You are being a burden. You are being too much." "Be a good girl, Clara," she would whisper, her voice a soft blade. "Help me with the tea. Your father has a headache, and the house needs to be still." And so the training began. I learned that my primary job on this earth was to be the stillness for everyone else's storm. I learned that good meant invisible. I learned that if I could predict everyone's needs before they even had them, if I could have the tea ready, the house quiet, the smile fixed, I would be safe. I would be rewarded with that pat on the head that says, "What a helpful girl." What they're really saying, and listen closely, because this is the root of the rot, is, "I love that I don't have to consider your needs because you've already prioritized mine." By the time I was 20, I was a master architect. I had built a facade so perfect that even I couldn't see the woman behind it anymore. I chose a safe career in law as a paralegal, supporting the great men of the firm. I dated safe men who didn't challenge my silence. I was waiting for my life to start, not realizing that I was the one keeping it on hold, standing guard at the door of my own heart. Then came the marriage years. 62 years ago, I married Arthur. Arthur was a good man by the standards of 1960. He didn't drink away the paycheck. He worked 40 hours a week at the insurance firm, and he never raised his hand to me. In those days, that was considered the jackpot. But Arthur was a benevolent consumer of my life. He didn't mean to be a villain. He just walked into the space I had cleared for him and never once asked how much it cost me to keep it clean. He assumed the good woman was a natural resource like water or air, limitless and free. I became the domestic CEO. I managed the finances, the social calendar, the emotional temperature of the house, and the upbringing of 3 children. I remember a specific Tuesday in 1984. My fever was 102. I was kneeling on the kitchen floor, scrubbing up a spilled gallon of milk that my youngest had knocked over. The baby was screaming in the high chair. My older two were wrestling in the hallway. Arthur walked in. He stepped over the puddle of milk, looked at me, sweat-soaked and shivering on the floor, and said, "What's for dinner, Clara?" I've had a really long day at the office. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the milk-soaked rag at his polished shoes. I forced that practiced, good woman smile and said, "Give me 10 minutes, dear. I'll whip something up." That is the good woman in action. That is the moment the soul dies a little bit. I was actually proud of that smile. I thought it was a badge of honor. I didn't realize it was a suicide note for my identity. I had trained him to expect me to be a martyr. I also worked. I was a paralegal for 35 years. I was the best they had. I knew the case files better than the partners. But I was a good woman in the office, too. There was a partner, Mr. Henderson. In the boardroom one morning, Henderson presented my findings, the loophole that saved the client millions, as his own. He took the credit, the bonus, and the accolades. He looked at me across the table and winked. Thank you for being such a loyal, quiet assistant. Did I speak up? No. I told myself it was for the good of the firm. That is the silence tax. It is the interest you pay on the things you're too afraid to say. Over 30 years, that tax bankrupted me. I watched men who were half as talented move up the ladder because they weren't afraid to be difficult. I wanted everyone to say, "Oh, Clara is such a team player, she's so sweet," and they did. They said it at my retirement party. And then, within 48 hours, they had forgotten my name. I have to tell you about Eleanor. If this story has a ghost of Christmas future, it's her. Eleanor lived 3 houses down. She was the perfect woman of our neighborhood. She was the one we all looked to as the standard of what a good woman should be. She kept a journal filled with lists of things she wanted to do next year. Next year, I'll go to the Louvre. Next year, I'll tell my husband I want to move. Next year, I'll finally take that pottery class. Next year never came for Eleanor. Her husband was a heavy man who took up all the oxygen in the room. Eleanor spent 45 years being his oxygen tank. She was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm at 66. She died in 72 hours. At her funeral, her husband talked about how she never let the sun set on an argument, and how she was the wind beneath his wings. I remember looking at him and thinking, "You weren't a bird, you were a kite." And she was the string holding you down while the wind whipped her to pieces until she snapped. The shattering finally happened 15 years ago, my 70th birthday. Arthur had passed away 3 months prior. My children threw me a massive party at a local country club. My oldest son, David, stood up to give a toast. He said, "Mom is the rock. She never wanted anything for herself. She lived entirely for us. She's the most selfless, good person I've ever known." The room erupted. People were wiping tears. I sat there looking at the candles, and I felt a cold, hard knot form in my stomach. It wasn't gratitude, it was horror. I realized that if I died right that second, my entire eulogy would be a list of things I did for other people. She never wanted anything for herself. It was the biggest lie of the century. I wanted everything. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. I had played the role so well that even my own children thought I was a hollow vessel. They loved a version of me that was a service, not a soul. I went home that night and cried for the girl I had abandoned in the name of being good. I was 70 years old and I was a stranger to the woman in the mirror. The next morning I woke up and I did something bad. My daughter Sarah called. "Mom, can you take the kids Tuesday through Thursday? I really need a break." Usually I would have said, "Of course, honey." I took a deep breath. "No, Sarah," I said. The silence was deafening. "What do you mean, no? Are you sick?" "No," I said. "I'm going to the botanical gardens. I am unavailable." She told me I was being difficult. She told me I was changing. I told her, "I'm not changing. I'm finally arriving." The last 15 years have been the worst years of my life by society standards, and the absolute best by mine. I have become inconvenient. I have stopped being the glue. And guess what? The family didn't fall apart. They just had to learn how to use their own glue. At 74, I traveled to Italy. Alone. I started painting. I'm not good at it, but I don't care. I spent 70 years only doing things I was good at because I was terrified of failing. Now, I embrace the mess. It is my mess. I am 85. My spirit is finally, I'm tired. But my spirit is finally. If you are feeling that familiar heavy weight in your chest, that good woman exhaustion, I am talking to you. Stop waiting for someday. Someday is a graveyard where the best versions of ourselves are buried. You think you're being noble by putting everyone else first. You are committing a crime against yourself. Don't wait until your 70th birthday to realize you're a stranger to yourself. Don't wait until you're 85 to finally say no. Start being difficult today. Start being selfish. Because selfish is just a word that people who benefit from your sacrifice use to keep you in line. If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied? If the answer is no, then change the script. Break the mask. Be the bad woman if it means being a real one. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do with your one precious, inconvenient life? Are you going to keep being good, or are you going to start being alive? If this story felt like a mirror, I want you to do two things. First, leave a comment and tell me one thing you're going to say no to this week. Let's hold each other accountable. And second, if you're tired of living for everyone else and you're ready to start living for yourself, subscribe. I have more truths to share, and as you know, I don't have much time left. Let's spend it together, being real.